Hey guys, coming up on the show tonight, we will be talking about the season premiere of Gotham, and we'll be, I don't even know what else to say. It was that awesome. You know what? Just play the darn music already.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy podcast. I am Captain Fizz.
And I, of course, am El Hombre Loco Enmascarado, better known simply as That Mask Guy.
And, tonight, yesterday was the season premiere of Season 2 Gotham, and as promised, it kicked off with a bang. But before we get to what's going to be pretty much an eye-opening, hair-raising season for Gotham, we must first turn our heads and pay respect to the late Jack Larson.
Jack Larson played Jimmy Olsen back in the old
1950s The Adventures of Superman.
Was it George Reeves? I think his name.
I believe so. Yeah. But either way, he was 87. He was a phenomenal actor. He really wasn't very well known for much else. His best claim to fame, of course, was Jimmy Olsen.
He actually, there is a bar scene in the movie Superman Returns, and he's actually the bartender there, and I believe it was sort of supposed to be a passing the torch from him to the actor who played Jimmy Olsen in that movie.
But see, it doesn't matter how much you do it. There's no possible way you could pass that torch. He was a phenomenal actor. He played, Jimmy Olsen to a T. I'm not a huge Superman fan. I've never claimed to be. But his acting was, it really kind of touched home with a lot of Superman fanatics and people like myself who really weren't a big fan. And the world has lost yet another great actor and a very great person in our field that we, pretty much grow up in and live in and whatnot. So we tip our hats to thee and pay respects to the late Jack Larson. So, as we said, though, yesterday was the season premiere of Gotham, and it definitely was phenomenal.
You know what? I was really hoping that this season premiere that they were going to go off and instantly grab a hold of me and get me hooked. And you know what? I can honestly say I was really wowed by, this season open. You know what? I make no apologies. There is going to be a lot of spoilers in this because, honestly, we can't talk about the show without actually bringing up the stuff that actually happened.
And stuff that has appeared on the trailer for the next episode. Which I love these whole trailers for each episode now. They're very entertaining.
Oh, I agree. I think it's a really great idea.
But I do have to point out the fact that you actually stopped watching partway through last season.
You know what? I actually there was I don't remember. I skipped out on I think 2 episodes. That the episodes that Barbara was actually taken captive. Yeah. Last season. Those were the ones I just felt at that point the show had gone way too dark. But then, I decided to come back for the season finale to see where that went, and I was just absolutely stunned with how good it was.
Yeah, but see, if you thought last season was too dark, why tune in for this season? This is the season of villains.
I think, part of it is that I was really hoping that they were going to try to bring back some of the dark humor that was in the first season, and I felt that with those episodes near the end, it really felt like they were going too dark and not having that humor in it.
But I definitely think though those couple episodes that you missed were a very key factor on explaining how Barbara becomes who she is, and she is really a very maniacal person, and and honestly, the person playing her, and offhand, I don't know the actress, but she plays Barbara to a T. This is a bone chilling, revelation in this, the new episode, plus the one that's coming, which is the birth of the Maniacs.
The Maniacs. I thought that was actually a pretty neat name to go off and to give this crew, because they definitely are maniacs.
This is like the Suicide Squad on steroids.
Yeah, no kidding.
The biggest, the baddest, baddies, and
by the way, her name, who plays Barbara Keene, is Erin Richards.
Thank you. But anyways, like you really see definitely a huge birth of the villains and the arch criminals in the first episode of season 2, which was a phenomenal. You definitely see a lot more of Eugene.
Are you talking about Enigma? I think maybe we'll start there. Just for those people who watched season finale for season 1, you really see where Enigma, who had he'd kind of went off and he had started going down the path to becoming the Riddler.
He started to crack,
and in the season finale, you see the cracks clearly forming there, and you see a dual personality beginning to form. I've heard it described on the internet as I'm Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personality.
Yeah, and now flash forward to the season 2 premiere, and those cracks are no longer cracks. These are full blown insanity.
Absolutely, this is. He was always big into the riddles, but now you're just starting to see some really creepy stuff that I thought was really phenomenal. The stuff they did with the mirror.
It definitely was. If you didn't watch it, I apologize, but we really can't keep these spoilers away because obviously this is part of our show. We waited a day before we said anything. Our Twitter's been fairly quiet the last day or so because of this specific reason. We did not want to reveal any spoilers to any of our followers, but you have him pretty much standing in front of the mirror. You got Gordon talking to him, and he looks rattled, but you don't quite know why. But as soon as Gordon walks away, his reflection talks to him.
And it was really creepy because you could definitely see it's Enigma, and then there's the Riddler, and the Riddler is, the mirror personality. And I just found that they had a bit of a fight where, the Riddler wanted to kind of come out. He wanted to play. He wanted to have some fun. And there was, he said, hey, we should go, try to hook up with Miss Kringle, who was the object of Ed's affections during season 1.
Yeah, but he didn't so boldly say, hook up with Kringle. He basically beat around the bush, which is the perfect Riddler way. But definitely said, we should go have some more fun.
Absolutely.
Which is definitely hinting at how season 1 ended, where he murdered, someone who was definitely interested in Miss Kringle. So it's very unique. I love how they did that.
What I liked was that while we know this is all going on at Ed's head, when he goes off, he puts his glasses on when he leaves the sink, and he walks away, but you can still see the Riddler in the mirror. And so that just goes off as like, okay, there's something really disturbing going on here.
And honestly, I think they really portrayed his character perfectly, and the drama and the terror that is going within himself, and possibly that's going to start, definitely delving itself out of Enigma, which is going to be phenomenal.
Absolutely. I want to bring up just a couple other things, kind of a background, because we didn't explain this right away. Season 2 starts a month after the end of season 1. Barbara has just entered into Arkham Asylum. Bullock has actually quit the force and is now
A bartender.
A bartender.
A sober
Bartender, which seems an oxymoron to me. Jim Gordon is now just a regular officer. He was demoted again by Commissioner Loeb in an effort to try to get him to quit.
Loeb.
Well, whatever. That was Loeb. Loeb, Loeb. I'm going to go with that. It doesn't really matter because by the end of this episode, Loeb is gone.
Yes.
But I just wanted to, so I'm just trying to give some background. Penguin
now runs the city.
And he's got Falcone's psychotic henchman Victor working for him now. And honestly, Victor is just absolutely. I think he was one of the more interesting characters for me from the season 1.
Yeah, but see,
Anthony Kerrigan plays him absolutely fantastic.
But see, and that's what I find funny because it was Victor who basically kidnapped, Barbara, and
he kidnaps Barbara
during those couple episodes that you failed to watch.
Well, no, it wasn't him. He didn't. It wasn't him. It was the ogre or the troll. I think it was called.
Right. Yes,
but
technically Vince or Victor
and Butch, Butch. It's kind of. I was kind of looking at interested because I was interested to see what they were going to do with Butch. Cause at the end of season 1, you see Butch is kind of. He's not sure what to do because as much he loved fish, but after what Victor did to him, he had become loyal to the Penguin, and so it's kind of interesting that Butch. Right now, anyways, seems to be very loyal to the Penguin, even though he was very upset with the fact the Penguin killed Fish Mooney in season 1.
The thing with that, though, is I actually technically disagree with your, kind of thoughts on that whole thing. If you really look at Butch's face, every time Penguin does something, against somebody, you can see this moral dilemma, the twitches start, this whole... It's almost as if he's fighting what happened to him. He's starting to come out, and he's definitely starting to show this whole side where he despises the Penguin.
I think it's going to be very interesting. I also found it interesting that Selena has now sided herself with Penguin.
I'm not entirely surprised on that. Selena has always been a very sly, very smart woman.
She's trying to, do better for herself. I mean, she sided with Fish when Fish came back to Gotham. When that didn't work out, she didn't want to go back to the gutters. And so the next step was to become, the Penguin's cat, so to speak.
Yeah.
The Penguin literally refers to her as, the cat, who doesn't kill mice.
Yes. Which, but if you really look at it, I don't exactly blame her for siding with the Penguin. And not so much, bettering herself, it's protecting herself.
Well, at this point, and it's interesting because I'm not going to go off and go into a lot of details, but Jim ends up getting fired from the force for, he's just absolutely frustrated with the incompetence and just the corruption.
Assaulted.
He went off and pushed his overweight partner who was late for their shift.
Again.
And so he gets fired from the force. But he knows he needs to, to get back on the force because it's the only way he's going to be able to change it.
So he goes crawling to his old friend, Penguin.
And Penguin says, I'll do this. I will get rid of Commissioner Loeb for you. I will get your job back. But you got to go collect the debt for me.
Yeah, and definitely it's very interesting. I saw, not that scene, but the scene that followed when, he's fighting the dilemma. Do good or do bad.
And he goes
to see Bruce, and Bruce pulls this huge Batman move. The whole detective, the whole,
He goes off and says, hey, you know what, maybe you need to go off and, do something dark to be able to do something good.
Yeah, and it definitely, the only thing I could think of was, holy smokes, here's Batman.
And I think this is where you could really see Bruce's mentality starting to form here. Where he goes off and he sees that, Jim Gordon, who to a certain degree he considers to be a mentor